All right, we're going to take a look at a Meerschaum pipe today. My first Meerschaum. I got this on smokingpipes.com. When I saw they posted their Black Friday sales, I'd been looking at this pipe and decided to pull the trigger. It is a rusticated straight billiard with silver, and I'm a huge fan of this shape. My favorite pipe shape so far specifically is the Savinelli 114. Here I have my sandblasted Punto Oro. If not my very favorite pipe, certainly up there. Absolutely love the shape, love the dimensions, chamber size, all that kind of stuff. So we'll take a look at this before I get it dirty, because the bowl will never look like that again. I see a lot of Meerschaum pipes with more floral designs, ornate designs, or different faces carved in. But I like this traditional shape, the rusticated billiard, especially with the saddle bit. So I thought this was a good place to start. It's pretty light in hand. I know that'll change over time as I smoke it and it pulls moisture and tar out of the tobacco, that will actually become heavier with use. That's okay too. It's not going to bother me much, but this is so close to in size and dimensions to a Savinelli 114 that I tried putting it in the case, and I think it would fit absolutely perfectly if I just took the pipe bit off there, which I'm not going to do right now. But yeah, looks like an excellent piece. I'm going to break it in this evening. I pulled 3 tobaccos. The first of which I will smoke is, for all the haters, some Haunted Bookshop. Got a little bit of that sitting here, trying out a little bit. Doesn't take long here in Phoenix, Arizona, for this stuff to dry out. Good smoking humidity level. And to follow that up, I've got a couple choices. I don't know. We'll see what I get to this evening. But I have some Billy Bud, a favorite of mine. We got some of that drying out there. And I've been on a Captain Earl's kick lately. About half of them that I've tried, I've went ahead and bought an 8-ounce tin. Really like the Captain Earl's blends. My favorite so far has been Diamond Head. It's a cake, it's crumble cake, but I take a sharp knife and it's dense enough that I cut it up pretty fine and rub it out. It seems to smoke pretty well prepared as such. So I'm pretty excited to see the differences here, if a Meerschaum pipe does in fact smoke cleaner, if that's better. I don't know. I haven't bought into anything 100% yet, so I'll withhold any verdicts. It's a nice looking pipe. I'm not going to baby it. I know some people will hold the pipe only by the stem and all this stuff because it might, my hands might discolor it, or I'm just going to smoke it and try not to drop it. That's pretty much my goal here. All right, we're going to do some videos to show coloration and to talk about my impressions of the pipe in the near future after I've smoked it a little bit. And if I hadn't mentioned and you hadn't seen, this is an IMP Meerschaum brand pipe. So we'll see you later. All right, we're ready finally to have a first smoke in my IMP Meerschaum. Bust it out here. Set this aside. We've got some Haunted Bookshop. Dried out appropriately. Feels good. Get her packed up.
Do you feel that the first smoke will be different at all in any way than the other ones?
Always compared to subsequent smokes. I don't think so, just from what I've read, that the Meerschaum itself is supposed to be so efficient at pulling out moisture, unlike a briar pipe in that sense, that a follow-up smoke should be basically the same. It's not supposed to ghost hardly at all, especially since I don't smoke aromatics. And that the Meerschaum is supposed to dissipate all that moisture pretty quickly. So should be pretty consistent, I guess, just from what I've read and watched on the internet. Get a little more in here. Get some of the smaller bits on top. I think I'm being overly gentle. Erring on the side of caution. I don't really want to tamp that. Set this aside. Get it going. A little wind this evening. I don't want to say anything definitive right off the bat, but this reminds me a lot of my first smoke out of my Savinelli 114 Punto Oro, which was, the chamber was raw. It wasn't pre-carbonized, or however they term that, where they coat the chamber. And the first smoke in that pipe was Haunted Bookshop as well. And it was just super clean. Or refined, I guess. Not that I thought otherwise when I would smoke Haunted Bookshop in a pipe I smoked daily. It still tasted great, but the first smoke out of that 114 was particularly clear. Everything was very, very clear. That's kind of what I'm getting already here. Tamp the charring light down a little bit. Probably being overly delicate with tamping, so might have a second chart light. We'll see. It's going good. Yeah, it tastes great. It tastes, like I said, a lot like the first smoke out of a virgin briar pipe. No carbonization or anything. Just have a little 0-calorie fake sweet tea. It's stuff at the Milo's, I think it is, sweet tea. The 0-calorie version is actually really good. It's the only one I've ever had that tastes like sweet tea instead of fake sweet tea.
Does it draw similarly to the 114s you're fond of because of the size similarity?
Yeah, it just feels right. These are the dimensions, or roundabout dimensions of my ideal pipe, both in diameter, and I think the depth is a little bit less doesn't really matter. I have 7 114s, and they're all different. Actually, there's a big difference between the biggest one and the smallest one. It almost looks like a different model pipe. At least at the length is close, but the external and internal dimensions of the bowl itself are pretty different. It's almost it looks like the difference between a 114 Savinelli and the 127, which is also a straight billiard with a saddle stem. It's a little bit smaller. I have one of those too, and I have a 114 that looks closer to a 127 than it does any of my other 114s. I can feel I think I can feel the wax starting to warm up a little bit on the outside. I think this is the point where people say that you should be careful how you handle the pipe, that your hands can cause discoloration over time. I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'm certainly not gripping it as firmly as I would a briar pipe, but I'm not going to get too caught up on it. That's smoking great. Just really, really clear. Especially that, out of a good burley, I usually get a little bit of like warm butter and bread. And it usually gains in strength as I smoke the bowl. I'm starting to get that kind of butter quality already. Yeah, it's great. It's a little different. I have a rubber pipe bit, stem bit on most of my pipes, and I think every single billiard or saddle stemmed straight billiard I clench. And I was going to put a bit on this and I forgot. And I'm not missing it, it's just a little bit different. The smoking experience of using a bit and not, I think, is inherently different whether you're clenching. I recently picked up a Nording Churchwarden. Didn't put a bit on it, and I smoked it for the first time last night. And it reminded me of that your interaction with the button here without a bit is a little bit more, I don't know, intimate, because you don't have this lack of concreteness with a rubber bit. You have a very definite shape you're dealing with, and the way you draw is a lot more concrete. I've been smoking pipes for about 3 months, so I'm kind of an expert at this point. So you should write all that stuff down. It's probably really important.
There's going to be people that watch this that think that you are being serious and you get real butthurt about that.
Yeah. You think so?
I bet so, man.
Maybe. What I'm always tempted to do, looks like there's, for some reason, an inordinately large amount of hate against Haunted Bookshop, the blend. I don't know why. I think it's because people really like it, so it's kind of a reaction. I don't know. I really like it. And I'm assuming a lot of people who just can't stand it are the same folks that smoke a lot of tobaccos that have been flavored to not taste like tobacco, also known as aromatics, which I don't like. I like tobacco to taste like tobacco, oddly enough. I can deal with a slight casing. I do really like the Stokeby Luxury Twist Flake, PS403. I really like that, and the first time I smoked it, when I realized it had a casing, I was really put off, but I went ahead and smoked the bowl down, and I thought it's mild enough that I enjoy it, and it works well with the blend, in the way it's prepared. But that's uncommon. It's actually in my normal rotation. I think I have a couple other blends that have a little bit of a casing. But no aromatics. I've tried, and I just don't. Of course, I came from smoking cigars, and I still do. I have a nice little collection in the humidor, but I know my preferences. And I don't want anything to do with a flavored cigar. I don't know exactly how long ago, but Drew Estate makes I think they're called Deadwood cigars. I think there's a Mary Jane, Vitola, and something like a Fat Bottom Betty. And I got a hold of one of those, and as soon as I took the cold draw after I cut it, I was like, man, it tastes really sweet. I think it might be a flavored cigar. So I tried to get online and see what I could find. I couldn't really find a definite answer. If I remember correctly, I couldn't find anything from any reputable source that said it was flavored, but there's definitely something added to maybe just the wrapper leaf or something that's very sweet and really kind of put me off to the cigar. I smoked maybe half of it and let it go. It's really good. Yeah, it's just really, everything's really clear and crisp about the flavor. I'd compare it to using a filter or filtered pipe, only just to say that it's not exactly like that. Almost all my Savinellis are fit for a 6mm balsa filter, and I've tried them, and I've always felt like it took something away from the smoke. It wasn't bad. I just didn't prefer them, so I don't even use the adapter. I don't mind dealing with a looser draw. It's like smoking a Padron. You just need to draw accordingly. So I toss the adapter, toss the filter. I've tried other filters in those too. There's like a ceramic type filter that I bought a box of and tried. And I felt like that imparted something or took something important away. And I don't feel that here. I don't feel that anything that's missing was necessary for the smoking experience. So everything's really well defined. It definitely tastes, I can taste more burley, just straight up burley, than I can out of any of the briar pipes I've smoked Haunted Bookshop in.
This flavor change. I'm gonna grab a different stick.
What happened?
It however much I've burned through, it started off with a very different flavor, and it has like an acrid taste to it now.
Holy cow! You could try cutting the end off.
It's almost like when you relight it, there's kind of a weird taste. Like you let a cigar sit. It's almost like that, but not quite. But I can't place what it is. But I know it's not particularly.
Did it go out?
No.
Well, I kind of lied, I guess. Now that I can feel that wax warm up, I'm trying to keep my hand off of it. Just so I don't mess anything up. I don't think I will, but I usually kind of just bare paw. It's what I like about it, about this shape. I can just kind of clutch it, and it's good tactile feedback. Burning really well. I'm gonna take a look down here. Looks good. Getting her dirty. Hey, I have a Le Bijou. I have a Petit Robusto. If you want to smoke it.
It's all good. That one, it just just sort of, it definitely changed like an inch in.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what.
Did you try cut and relight? And it.
My relight.
Was that the one in the box?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we have that. Trying to get used to this old boy. I've been using a Karibi. Man, that's really good. Mikazuki, I believe. And one difference I've noticed, I don't have it out here to show you, but where the valve, where the opening where the flame comes out on the Karibi is lined up straight out of the lighter. So you light the lighter and you hold it like this and do what you need to do. In the old boy, it's at a slight angled away from the wheel because it's set further back. On the Karibi, it's forward, kind of flush with the wheel. It's not going to interact with it, the flame. But on the old boy, it's a little bit behind the wheel, so it's canted a little bit left. Well, if I'm holding it this way, away from the wheel. So I end up having to hold it at a kind of an angle instead of just straight in. I can probably get used to that. But it is a little different. And I don't know if handedness has anything to do with it. I'm left-handed. I smoke. I usually hold the pipe with my right hand. I use the lighter with the left hand. I'm assuming that right-handed people do the opposite of that. I don't know. But I tried using this right-handed, or opposite of what I do, and it seemed kind of like it was easier the way I was doing it. I don't know. It's probably something that I'll get used to and forget about. That was really good. Fantastic. No harshness. Smooth, full flavor. Non-aromatic tobacco. Tobacco that tastes like tobacco.
You said you've only been smoking for 3 months. Now, some people might not smoke as much as you do, so can you give some insight into, it's been 3 months or so. How often do you smoke? How many pipes do you think you smoke now? How many bowls?
Yeah, I've been kind of moving at an expedited rate. I usually smoke every day. Sometimes I don't if stuff comes up. The job I have right now is much less time intensive than what I did for most of my career. So it's still kind of this novel thing to me to go home at 4 o'clock and to have weekends off. It's been a year and a half since I've had a normal schedule like that, and so just kind of taking advantage of it with anything I want to do. Right now it's pipes, so I usually smoke every day. I'll come out and read, or I'll play a stupid game on my phone. There's tower defense kind of games. One thing that a pipe does that a cigar, I think, doesn't do. There's so much involved with smoking a pipe. The tools and the whole operation. There's a lot of upkeep to smoke a pipe compared to smoking a cigar. And if you have a lot on your mind that you don't want to have on your mind all day, every day, getting a pipe going and keeping it going is a great distraction, because it's enjoyable in the first place, but there's enough things going on that I can usually forget about what's eating at me for an hour or so, maybe more, maybe less. And that can be very, very useful. With a cigar, you cut it, toast it, light it up. Assuming that you already know how to smoke a cigar, because there is kind of a learning curve to that too. And you're free to do. You can set a good cigar down for a few minutes and pick it up and take a puff and it comes right back to life. And more often than not, after you know how to smoke a cigar, you don't really have any problems. Every once in a while you'll get a stick that wants to run up the side or has a tight draw or something happens, but you just try to fix it, and if not, toss it and go grab another one. It's not a big deal. But the pipe demands your attention. And that's come in pretty handy here the past few months. So, to get back to the actual question, I smoke right now. I've been smoking pretty much every day. 1 to 2 bowls during the week. And on the weekend, it kind of just depends on what we're doing. If we're working outside, doing something in the shop, I've smoked 7 bowls in a single day. Usually be closer to 3 or 4. So I've accumulated a little bit of experience. Not enough that I would say I know anything, but I know what I like. And I like tobaccos. It tastes like tobaccos. Not vanilla cherry sherbet or whatever.
Well, you're not any man that's retired from the Navy, so.
Right. If I was a Navy man, if I were a Navy man, it's easy to remember. If you're speaking in the subjunctive mood, if you use if or I wish, if you're in the subjunctive mood, it's always were. It's never was. If I were, if we were, easy to remember. If anybody cares. I don't really care. Man, this is really good. Excellent. It's dark out here. I've got a little flashlight that is part of my kit. I always have this with me because I smoke in the dark a lot and I like to see what's going on. Feels like it's getting a little bit warmer than it has been, so I'm going to let off of it for a minute. And I think I'm getting a slight gurgle. So I'm going to go grab, didn't set out any pipe cleaners. I'm going to go grab a couple of those and
They're in the box?
we'll get back to it. Yeah. Yeah. How long did you, I just keep going. I don't know how much, I didn't know how much you wanted to.
This is much you want to talk about. Because if you want, you can just sit there and we can just basically, like, I'll shove it so it almost looks like a time lapse.
Okay.
So, yeah. If you got stuff to say it.
I can talk bullshit for a long time.
We'll put the video up. And if people don't want to watch it, they'll either skip through it or they'll click on something else. Most people don't have the attention span to watch a 30-minute pipe video, but there's probably going to be a couple guys who might think it's useful.
Yeah. Well, I thought I had a slight gurgle, but come back with nothing. I think I got no gurgle. Might have been a ghost gurgle. Maybe that's what it. All right, I'm just going to smoke it for a little bit.
Cool.
Because it is distracting. All right, so I think we're getting to the end of this bowl. Really interesting experience. I'm really glad I got this pipe. Really glad I acquired a Meerschaum pipe. And I really like this one in particular, but I'll definitely be looking at more of them this evening, later on the internet. So I'm going to finish up this haunted bookshop, and then I think I'm going to go for, let it cool down, clean it out. And bowl 2 will probably be some Captain Earl's Diamond Head that I have setting out. Catch up with you then.